All right, let's just dive right in. Welcome to today's explainer. I really want to channel my inner warm, enthusiastic professor today, so I'm giving a huge, very special welcome to all the BSc and NEP biology students tuning in. I know those finals are looming right around the corner, and honestly, I sincerely hope you're all studying hard and keeping that focus sharp. We built this explainer specifically for you, to help you totally decode a foundational concept you absolutely need to master for your exams.
So, let me ask you a quick question to kick things off. What is actually powering your brain while you study right now? I mean, we always hear that food gives us energy, right? That's just common knowledge. But your cells can't simply take a piece of bread or, a bowl of rice and use it directly to power the intense, focused studying you're doing at this exact moment. There's this magnificent biological translation that has to happen first.
Section 1. The ultimate brain fuel.
To get from a literal, physical piece of food to actual cellular energy, digestion utilizes a catabolic process. So complex macromolecules, like the starches in your bread and the proteins in your eggs, are broken down into simpler, diffusible forms. We're talking things like glucose and amino acids. But the biological process doesn't just stop there. Even after breaking your food down, it still has to be converted into a very, very specific molecular format before the cell can actually spend it. Think of it kind of like trying to use foreign currency at your local grocery store. I mean, you have wealth, sure, but it's not in a usable format yet.
So here's the crucial point. The cell needs to exchange it for ATP, adenosine triphosphate. We famously call this the energy currency of the cell. And I just love this economic analogy because it makes so much sense. Just like you need physical cash or a credit card to buy goods or a service in the real world, your cells need to spend ATP to perform literally any biological work. Running, jumping, thinking, studying, all of it costs ATP.
Section 2. Passive versus active transport.
Now, to truly understand why ATP is so incredibly vital, we've got to look at how substances actually move across a cell's plasma membrane. Take passive transport, for example. Think of simple diffusion or osmosis. Here, molecules move naturally from a high concentration to a low concentration without spending any energy at all. It's completely free. It's exactly like rolling a ball down a steep hill. Gravity just does all the work, and it happens completely naturally. But contrast that with active transport. What if a cell needs to move something uphill, against a concentration gradient? Well, what if you have to push that heavy ball all the way to the top of the hill against gravity? Let's focus on this awesome quote directly from our source material. Active transport is not natural. It's downhill transport in reverse, and it absolutely requires ATP energy to function. I really want you to remember this. Whenever a cell needs to pull in crucial nutrients or pump out toxic waste against a natural concentration gradient, it cannot do it for free. No way! It must spend ATP energy.
So why does this matter so deeply to your overall health? Simply put, ATP maintains homeostasis. Without the constant, reliable energy supplied by ATP to fuel active transport, your body would completely fail to maintain its stable internal environment. The delicate, super precise balance of ions, water, and nutrients inside your cells would just collapse, and cellular function would literally grind to a halt.
Section 3. Real-world cellular pumps.
Let's ground this theoretical biology in a real-world example you are definitely going to see on your exams: neural integration. Think about your own nerve impulses right now as you listen to me. For a nerve to fire, it requires an impulse, and that firing relies entirely on the sodium-potassium pump. This pump is a specialized protein sitting right in the membrane, and it acts exactly like a strict gatekeeper. But here's the catch. This gatekeeper refuses to work for free. It only moves those sodium and potassium ions against their natural gradient when ATP is there to physically pay the energy toll. No ATP, no nerve impulse. It really is that simple. We also see the massive, massive importance of ATP in complex metabolic pathways, like the urea cycle, which, by the way, you might also know as the ornithine cycle. In this process, your liver is tasked with processing highly toxic ammonia that naturally builds up in the body. Well, ATP steps up and provides the absolute necessary energy to power the complex chemical conversions that safely turn that dangerous ammonia into harmless urea, which can then be safely excreted.
Section 4. The exam magic key.
All right, my focus learners, get your pens and paper ready. Here is the ultimate magic key heuristic. It perfectly summarizes the rules of the biological road, and it will absolutely help you ace your physiology papers. So lock these into your memory. First, whenever you see active transport on a test, immediately think ATP required.
Second, when a chemical bond is formed, like the glycosidic bond in carbohydrates, that process requires energy to be put in. Third, when a bond is broken down by enzymes, like carbohydrate hydrolases, energy is released or redirected. And fourth, ATP is always the energy middleman, expertly carrying this released energy exactly to where the cell needs to spend it.
So bringing this whole cellular economy analogy full circle, ATP is quite literally the most important molecule in your body's bank account. If you can master the fundamental difference between how energy is spent in active transport versus how it's conserved in passive transport, you've unlocked the secret to scoring very, very well on your exams. You'll be able to predict exactly how the cell behaves in almost any scenario. To wrap up our explainer today, I want to leave you with a quick challenge to test your understanding. Can you name one process in the body other than the sodium-potassium pump we just discussed that you think absolutely requires ATP? Think about it. And hey, as you continue prepping for your upcoming exams on protein and lipid digestion, please remember to prioritize your sleep cycle and your nutrition. You've got to keep your own personal ATP levels high to study effectively. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep up the hard work, stay curious, and I'll catch you next time.